Two things before I actually get into this video. This is the first Triple P that I've done that's been pre-recorded in quite some time, because as y'all know, recently a lot of the Triple Ps that I have done as of late have been live stream. But I thought about doing this as the form of a live stream, but then I realized that I could cover this in a pre-recorded video. Either way, it's a Triple P. And the other thing is, it's been a long time since I've talked about this woman. In case y'all don't know who this is Amy Cooper. She is the one that they had dubbed Central Park Karen 3 years ago, when she tried to accuse a black man of trying to attack her in some kind of way. Now, the reason why I'm doing a Triple P on her right now is because she has managed to resurface herself. Now, the last time we talked about her, the last time she was a topic of discussion, was when she was trying to get her job back and they didn't take her back. She didn't get her job back. Basically, she lost everything around her. We were just mad that the black man didn't go further with those charges that could have really crippled her. But apparently now she might actually be in a bad state, because according to her, she says she's had to live in hiding 3 years after she called 911 on this man. And then she said, or came out and said, that she did this because apparently she was a victim of a particular form of assault. I hope y'all can read between the lines. When she was in her teens. Now, the interesting thing about that is, you know, it goes back to that big black boogeyman trope. And then when you think about Central Park, I keep thinking about Central Park 5, who are now dubbed the Exonerated 5. When, if y'all know the story about that, then you pretty much know where that's headed. And then it's like, did she ever bring that up when the situation happened back then or not? Because I don't remember her mentioning that. It's ironic she brings that up now. And she says she's been in hiding. Apparently she's not in hiding, because she came out to make this statement, so she's making her presence be known. In other words, she's trying to garner more sympathy, or maybe she needs some money. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this article and see what she's talking about now. The woman dubbed the Central Park Karen has revealed that she is still petrified and is living in hiding 3 years after she called 911 on an innocent black bird watcher. Amy Cooper recalled that she was quote-unquote panicked when Christian Cooper, no relation, approached her in the Manhattan Park because she had been a victim of sexual assault in her teens, and because she thought he was going to poison her dog. But if you look at the video, she literally was dragging her dog or pulling her dog by the collar to the point where the dog looked very uncomfortable and looked like the dog was choking. That's basically all he was telling her, was to basically follow the rules of the park when you're walking the dog, and she got so irate. We all saw the video. She's just spewing a bunch of lies right now. That's really all it boils down to. The confrontation resulted in Amy calling the police on the black man. Happened in May 25th, 2020, the same day on which George Floyd was murdered. Christian Cooper, age 59, was bird watching in the Park Ramble area at the time and had asked Amy to leash her dog in accordance with the park rules. After she was sensationally sacked from her Wall Street job and branded a racist on every corner of the internet, Amy said she had strangers tell her to slit her wrists and delete herself, while others called her phone saying she deserves to be violated in prison. This is what she says. She says she knew her life was over when the video went viral and she was forced into hiding. 3.5 years later, Amy says she is still scared to be in public. So basically what she's trying to say is that this man, this black man, who all he was doing was telling her to follow the rules of the park, this is her way of saying that he is the cause for her life being in shambles, when really she brought it upon herself. All she had to do was follow the rules of the park and put the leash on the dog. That is it. That is all. But she turned it into this big grandiose thing and thought she couldn't be told anything, especially by that of a black man, and her being a PC woman. And you know, she apparently runs every corner of the earth, or at least in her surroundings, and no one could tell her what to do. Now, because all of this stuff is allegedly happening or has happened to her, now it's this guy's fault. That's basically what she's saying. And she says she tried to connect directly with Christian but never heard back. That's the least he could do, considering what he could have done to really ruin her. Amy says she'd always be open to an honest, productive conversation. It's too late for that. Writing an opinion piece in Newsweek 3 years after the ordeal, Amy recalled, "I heard a voice boom. Get out of here, you shouldn't be here. I saw a man began yelling at me that my dog should be on his leash. Before recording me, Christian Cooper yelled out, 'If you're going to do what you want, I'm going to do what I want, but you're not going to like it.'" I feel like I just can tell she's straight up lying, because again, it was all recorded. I can't remember a time when this man yelled at her in such a belligerent manner, but we can look back at her behavior and see all the stuff that she was doing and what she was heard saying, and in the tone that she was saying it. Amy Cooper said that she had been sexually assaulted in her teens, and when Christian suddenly tried to offer her dog treats, she was scared that he was going to poison her dog. She said, "I was a female alone in a secluded area of Central Park with a man yelling at me and threatening me. As a victim of sexual assault in my late teens, I was completely panicked for my safety and well-being. Then Christian, who did not own a dog, bizarrely tried to lure my dog to him with treats, immediately raising a red flag. News stories of poisoned dogs quickly came to mind." See, this woman is making all of this stuff up. Not, mind you, this is 3 years later. Where was all of this 3 years ago? Where all of this allegedly happened. Now it's 3 years later because your life is so-called ruined. If she don't get out of here with that. Amy revealed that she told the strange man that she was going to call the police, and he taunted her to do so. And her repetitive description of him during the 911 call was due to the spotty service rather than any inherent need to emphasize his race, she claimed. Amy said, "Acting from a place of panic and vulnerability, I told Christian that I was going to call the police and what I planned to say, hoping that would be enough to dissuade him from the earlier threat." I do remember her consistently bringing up his race though, and she thought that was going to be her way of getting him hemmed up. See, she leaves all of that stuff out and she brings up new stuff that was not there back in 2020. Instead, Christian taunted me to call the police. Seeing no other choice, I called 911 and described the man who was threatening me. But due to very spotty service in the park, I had to repeat my description of Christian multiple times. There were never any racial implications of my words. I just felt raw fear and desperately wanted help. There is no such thing as a Karen. We are all just people, each of us deserving grace and forgiveness. In the end, silencing the truth and the full story hurts all of us. Amy Cooper called the police and saying there's an African-American man threatening my life, which occurred around the same time that nationwide protests about racial injustices were kicking off. That's what I remember. I'm sure everyone else who saw the video remember the same thing. Franklin Templeton, the firm where she worked since 2015, fired Amy the next day, and she was branded on social media as Central Park Karen, incorporating a pejorative for an entitled white woman. Amy then launched a wrongful dismissal lawsuit against her former employer, but she lost the legal battle in September 2022 as it was ruled. She first began her lawsuit in May 2021, alleging that she had been defamed by the bank. At the same time, Amy was charged with a misdemeanor for making a false police report, but this was dropped months later, and she probably thought that it being dropped was going to be a surefire way for her to probably overcome this and win. She said, "I still can't get a job that meets my qualifications, and I hope she doesn't. And there have been long stretches of unemployment, all leading to thoughts of self-harm." On the other hand, since the ordeal, Christian's career has skyrocketed. He launched his own TV show starring in National Geographic's Extraordinary Birder, which was released on June 17th. Cooper also went on to write a book for DC Comics called It's a Bird, the first part of the company's digital anthology series called Represent According to Open Culture. The comic book has a similar storyline as Cooper's own encounter with Amy, but was set in a suburban area rather than Central Park's ramble. The main character, Jules, comes across a white woman with her dog off his leash in the story. Cooper also has roots in Marvel and was the company's first openly gay writer and editor. Previously, Amy Cooper and Bari Weiss on her Honesty podcast that she was as a woman alone in the park, and she didn't know if she had another option beside contacting authorities and had explored all my options. I tried to leave. I tried to look for anyone who's around. There was no noise, no sound, she said on the podcast. She later claimed on the podcast that Christian had told her, "If you're going to do what you want to do, then I'm going to do what I want to do, but you're not going to like it," which Christian confirmed to CBS Mornings was true. The birder had pulled out dog treats to help Amy leash her dog, an old bird watcher trick, he said. However, Amy didn't perceive it that way. She said on the podcast, "I'm trying to figure out what that means. Is that a physical attack on me? An attack on my dog? What is he about to do?" Let's be honest here. She just saw a big black man and just perceived him to be a threat. After all, when she called the police, she made sure to describe him first by his race. She said, "There's this African American man." That's how she started it off. She didn't say this man. She said this African American man. Well, she made sure to put emphasis on this man's race before anything else. I look up and he's holding these dog treats in one hand and a bike helmet in his other hand, and I'm thinking, oh my God, is this guy going to lure my dog over and try to hit him with his bike helmet? And if I end up over there, am I going to get hit by his bike helmet? Amy also says she was thrown off guard by Christian's change in demeanor when she called the cops. It's really weird because he's still standing there. You know, the same very physical posture, and suddenly out of him comes this voice from a man who's been very dominant towards me, she says. She's probably not used to hearing that type of tone of voice. Suddenly, you know, also almost this victimized voicing saying, don't come near me, don't come any closer, she says. Like, almost like he's terrified of me. To me, that's even more terrifying now because you've gone from screaming at me. If you kept screaming at me, at least it was consistent, but now his whole verbal demeanor has changed. Amy says that when she asked Christian to stop recording, he refused, adding to her anxiety. She keeps piling on to this. At the point that she makes the phone call, it's very clear that there is no physical threat to her at all. Christian told CBS Mornings it's the iPhone and the dog treats. Listen, this woman is just grasping for straws. Like I said, apparently whatever story she would like, whatever came out about her worked against her, and what she's trying to bring up now is working against her. And she's trying to get back in some kind of good grace, if there was ever good grace to be had for her to be in. And none of it is working to her benefit, all to her own detriment. That's exactly what she gets. And I'm gonna be honest, when he decided not to, like, quote unquote testify against her or, you know, go along with those charges, a lot of us were pissed that he decided to let that go, because we just knew for a fact that she was going to walk away from this unscathed. But this is one of those rare instances where that wasn't the case, because her job didn't take her back. She apparently at this point in time, even 3 years later, cannot find gainful employment. She says she's living in fear. She can't go outside, or people are sending her these threats and all types of stuff. And that's, you know, we got to side eye that as well, because a lot of people have since moved on from this situation. If anything, her best bet would be to just remain quiet, because most people have moved on from that. Most people have forgotten about her, but the fact that she put herself back out there, now people are going to remember who she is and what she did. I could be honest, I forgot about her. I forgot what this woman's name was. I only knew her by the Central Park Karen, and I barely remembered that until I saw this article, and I was like, oh, this woman. So in my honest opinion, she's doing this so she can garner more attention, and it's still not working in her favor, but it is what it is.